Hello, my name is Steve Rangos. This is my Project 1 milestone for CSC 582. I decided to do my project on Oracle databases and multimedia, specifically working with SVG images as they pertain to Oracle databases. So first off, multimedia is a term that covers a whole range of topics. Images, sound, video, all three together, any sort of combination you want to have. But specifically in this project, I'd like to focus on images. Databases, as you guys know, are a good place to store images, but what if you wanted to manipulate your multimedia while still in the database, right? So if you had an image saved in a database, didn't want to take it out of the database, but still wanted to query what was inside or change its contents, how would you go about doing that? You'll need two things, from what I can tell. You'll need, first of all, an image format that allows itself to be manipulated. So as opposed to just a bunch of bytes that in some proprietary format that's not easily changeable, we need the image to be backed by some sort of readable data. Also, you're going to need a table structure in your database that allows for that manipulation. So first off, I want to talk to you about what I'm going to be storing in my database. So what I'm going to be storing is an SVG file, which stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. Basically, this is an image format that is backed by an XML. So in order for the computer to render this image, it will look at the XML, read what formulas and coordinates are in the XML. So, for example, if you want to create a circle with an SVG, you would have to give its X and Y coordinates and also its radius. And from there, the computer will be able to tell you, or to render the image exactly how you want it. The good thing about this is that XML is very standard and it's very structured. So I'm going to be able to look through an XML and be able to pick out information more easily than most other file formats. So putting all this together, it's a structured way to hold information about how a computer should render an image. Just so you guys know, this is an example. Right here we have this little smiley face or something like that. But this is drawn with by an SVG, or this is defined by an SVG. As you can see on the right is the actual XML behind it. So there's descriptions on how the text should be rendered, how the lines should be rendered, circles, filters. This format is very, very robust and not very difficult to read. Next up, we need to talk about the database. So an Oracle database can store an XML file in a couple different ways. It can store it as a string, right? So if you just want to have the entire XML as a string, that's one way. It can store it as a clob, which basically is just the bytes that make up the XML file, or it can store it as an XML type. And this is the really cool type, because what an XML type will allow you to do is to, through a SQL query, it'll allow you to iterate and gather information about the nodes. So let's say we have a bunch of nodes in an XML file, each with a specific name. Through an SQL query, I should be able to actually get all those node values, as opposed to if my XML was saved as a string, or if my XML was stored in a string varchar data type. I would actually have to pull the string out, put it into an XML format, parse the XML, then get all the data. Same thing with the cloud. So this XML type provides a really nice way to query data within the database. This is kind of just what I went over. Yeah. SVG and Oracle databases, how do they relate? So, like we said earlier, SVG files are backed by an XML, and because Oracle allows us to store an XML as an XML type and then query/alter the XML directly within the table, that means that if we store all those SVGs as XMLs in the data table, we can then query and alter aspects of the SVG directly from within the database. This has a couple powerful uses that I can think of offhand, but I'm sure there are many more. But really, if you had hundreds or thousands of images and you say you wanted to make them all blue, I'm not sure why you want to do that, but maybe you do. This would be easy because you would just write a SQL query to iterate all the images, or iterate through all the XML files, find the tag that defines color, change that to whatever the color you want it to be. This also allows us to somewhat understand what are in the image files without being able to see them. So if I had thousands of images and I wanted to know what was the average size of them, or how many average objects are in them, or anything like that, or how many are blue, how many are red, how many are yellow, are there different combinations of each, I would be able to do that through the database without having to open up each image, look at it, describe it, and then close it, right? So potentially very useful on a large scale. So what I plan on doing is setting up my Oracle database, create a table that holds an XML type record. I will then use a Java application to insert the records. The reason I'm doing this is because that seems to be the easiest way to actually get the XML type in there. Otherwise, I would actually have to directly type the XML into my insert statement, which would take forever. So I'm going to automate the process with the Java application. Then I plan on writing some queries to find information about each record, maybe what the average color is, what the average size is, that kind of thing. Also, I'm going to use the queries to alter the images themselves if I can. So I'm going to try to make all the images blue or something like that. So as you can see here, I did set up my database, my Oracle 11G Express Edition, right on my local system. You can see that the connection is just to my local host, so it just runs on my own computer. Next up, I needed to create the tables. So I only created one table, and it's not very complex because we're not testing whether it can hold the information, we're testing how to get the information back out. So the table only has a name, a description, and the SVG data, which is an XML type, as you can see, and then below that, the proof that I created that table. We are going to need a data set to work with. The Apache Batik library, it is what I'm going to be using in Java to work with the SVGs. It also came with a bunch of sample images. I'm planning on using these. If I can find a bigger or wider set of SVGs, I will use those as well. But these are pretty diverse, so it should give me a good opportunity to check out all the features. So next up, I'm going to create the Java application and then write the queries. So that's about it for this milestone 1. Thank you very much.